Hi, Sharon. It's Trevor.
Good morning, Trevor.
Good morning, Dale. Good morning, Sharon.
We're just waiting on Dan. Dave Marquardt is on. Oh,
Right, I remember that.
We're just waiting on Dan. Okay. You want to give her another minute?
Yeah, we'll give her a minute. Do they know we're waiting?
Do we have Nan yet? Okay, thank you.
You're all risk. You're an adult. I think I should be worried now.
Now that I cough.
Great.
It might be because necessary.
Yeah, I might take that. That's a good point.
Paul Herdick here.
Yeah, we do. Nan?
Yes, hello, it's a different, am I calling into Board of Control?
Yes, you are.
Okay, it's a different number and code?
Yes.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Board of Control for February 1st. Before we start, I would just like to remind everybody on the call to please do not put us on hold, and if you're not speaking, please put your phone on mute. It's becoming a problem, and we like to address that, so we're asking for your help and cooperation. With that being said, will the clerk please call the roll?
Calling the roll for the February 1st Board of Control meeting, Dale Miller.
Here.
Nan Baker.
Here.
Trevor McAleer serving as an alternate for Purnell Jones.
Here.
Mike Chambers serving as an alternate for Armin Budish.
Here.
Lisa Rocco serving as an alternate for the fiscal officer.
Here.
Dave Marquardt serving as an alternate for Mike Dever.
Here.
Lenora Lockett. Here. We have a quorum.
Okay, next is the review of the minutes from January 25th. I'm going to make a motion to approve those minutes. Do I have a second?
Second. Second. Dave Marquardt.
Seconded by Mr. Marquardt. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Moving on to public comment. Do we have anyone from the public that wishes to speak at this time? Please do so. Once, twice, three times. No public comment. Moving on to contracts and awards.
First item, BC 2021-40, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on a purchase order to Rush Truck Center of Ohio Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $311,980 for the purchase of 2 replacement international construction crew trucks for the Sanitary Engineering Division.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Department of Public Works. This first item, we're recommending an award to Rush Truck, the not-to-exceed dollar amount. It's for the purchase of 2 international crew trucks. They're replacement trucks for our sanitary division. They replaced the 2006 International, 2011 International, which are becoming much more expensive to manage due to their age and wear and tear. These are being purchased off the State of Ohio ODOT contract, which was competitively bid by ODOT. It was invitation to bid, and we're piggybacking off of this. I know there were some questions regarding these and the other vehicles about what's the plan for these. One of them will definitely go to GovDeals. The other one will be evaluated at the time it's being turned in to determine if it can be repurposed. If not, it will go to GovDeals.
Thank you, Tom. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second. Dave Marquardt.
Seconded by Mr. Marquardt. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-41, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on a purchase order to Rush Truck Center of Ohio Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $103,529.21 for the purchase of one replacement international sandblast truck for the Road and Bridge Division.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Public Works again. This item recommending award to Rush Truck. It's another not to exceed dollar amount. It's for the purchase of a replacement sandblast truck for our Road and Bridge division. This is also being purchased off of State of Ohio ODOT contract, which again was competitively bid by invitation to bid process. This is a replacement for a 1991 International, which is costing a lot more to manage. That truck will be placed on gov deals to be sold.
Thank you, Tom. Are there any questions from the board members on this item?
Yes, this is Dale. On that, the end of your presentation where you said that item will be placed on, and then it cut out, and I didn't hear what you said.
I think it was regarding, it's going to replace a 1991 International truck with our Road and Bridge division, and that will go on gov deals to be sold, the replacement one.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Any further questions on this item? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Rocco. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item, please.
Item BC 2021-42, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on a purchase order to Ohio CAT in the amount not to exceed $65,257.32 for the purchase of one replacement skid steer loader.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Public Works again. This is the award recommendation to Ohio CAT. It's the purchase of a skid steer. It's a replacement for our facilities division. This stems from a formal RFP that we released in 2019 that was allowed us to make awards on an as-needed basis for future purchases of construction equipment. This piece falls in line with that award recommendation and that competitive RFP that we released, and this will be a replacement for facilities division.
Okay, thanks again, Tom. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Hearing none, then I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Lisa Rocco. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2021-43, Department of Development, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 4307, which will result in a payment to Jumpstart Incorporated in the amount of $250,000 for operational support for the NASA Technology Commercialization Program for the period February 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2022, and recommending the payment in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning. Paul Herdig with the Department of Development. This operating support payment from the county's Economic Development Fund will advance a key strategy of Cuyahoga County's 5-year economic development plan by supporting intensive work with NASA Glenn to commercialize technologies that are developed at NASA Glenn at firms which will advance these technologies to into the market with a focus on work in Cuyahoga County. This proposed project was briefed and discussed at a meeting of Council's Economic Development Committee last week. Ray Leach of Jumpstart is on the line today to answer any further questions that board members might have about the project.
Thank you, Paul. Are there any questions from the board on this item?
Yes, this is Dale, and not a question, just a comment that this goes along well with and augments the work we're doing with the Aerozone Alliance to work with the neighboring communities in the airport and NASA Glenn area to greater economic development spin-off opportunities to Cuyahoga County. It's something that is long overdue, that we have not fully taken advantage of opportunities like some other communities have around the country, and I think it's important that we give this high priority. So I'm strongly in favor of it.
Okay, thank you. Any further comments or questions on this item?
Yes, this is Nan Baker, and I too was in the Economic Development Committee listening to the proposal and agree that this is a proposal that I support and look forward to hearing the results of what we're agreeing to today. So thank you for that.
Okay, sure. Final questions? Hearing none, then, I'm going to make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second, this is Dale.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-44, Fiscal Department submitting an amendment to a contract with Protivity Government Services Incorporated through its staffing division, Robert Half Government, for temporary staffing services for the period March 1st, 2019 through February 28th, 2022, for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $200,000.
Good morning. This is Michael Zapola, Fiscal Office. Basically, this is an amendment to a current contract to help us with the fill some of the open positions that we currently have on staff that we're currently in the process of filling. But this should help us out with the year-end audit prep related work, as well as some of the normal backfilling from the accounting staff that's missing.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Are there any questions from the board on this item?
One question from Nan Baker.
Yes.
Is there a reason why we couldn't have hired these in time for the need instead of hiring outside services? Was this a recent vacancy?
There were a couple of vacancies that were relatively recent, within the last month or so.
Okay.
And one of them was from an accounting position that was promoted up into the financial manager position.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate the answer.
Additional questions on this item?
Mr. Chair, this is Trevor.
Yes.
Just have, one from the advanced question. This says that it didn't go through all the N4 approval processes and on-base. I was just curious of how come this one didn't go through the normal process that it would normally go through.
Trevor, I'm not sure exactly. It went through the system with all the appropriate approvals that I'm aware of.
I also know we had an employee that was there that had left right when this thing was working its way through, but as far as we know, everything is through the system and where it needs to be, Trevor.
The advanced question said that this one did not get all the approvals.
Maybe it missed our internal. Oh, I apologize. Okay, so we're, yeah, I think you're right. I misspoke. I think something's, I need to look at where it's stuck. We'll take care of that, though, before this goes, obviously it won't go forward. I'll make sure we make it pending all the approvals.
Thanks, Mike.
Sure.
Yep.
Hearing no further questions, then I'm going to make a motion, obviously pending, you know, all the proper approvals through the system. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Lisa Rocco. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2021-45, Office of the Treasurer, submitting an amendment to a contract with Automated Business Equipment Corporation, doing business as F&E Payment Pros, formerly known as F&E Check Protector Company, doing business as F&E Payment Pros, for licensing, support, training, and maintenance services on the digital remittance processing system for the period October 1st, 2014 through September 30th, 2020, to extend the time period to September 30th, 2021, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $14,495.
This is Bert Bykowski from the Treasury. This is the scanning system that is used to process all of the checks that come in through the county, either for tax payments or from other departments for deposit. The funds that are being asked for are the annual fee for licensing and service and maintenance for the equipment and the scanners. There was a significant delay on this. It was originally scheduled to go before the board at the end of September. We were planning on submitting it, and we received a last-minute request from the risk department to increase insurance requirements. Because of this, the company had a very difficult time getting the insurance with the new requirements because of the amounts being requested. They did finally secure this towards the end of December, and we moved forward with getting approval. There were a few rejections in N4 that we were not notified of because of a glitch in the system, so we did push it through as fast as we could, and that is why we had this done as a rush. The system is proprietary. We did not do an RFP for it. This was sole sourced last year just because the system was built specifically to work with our software, and at the time we had the pending transition to govern, and they felt at that time to not change it, it would not be practical, because we weren't sure if it would be the system that would be used to continue when we transferred to govern. Obviously, since we have not transferred to govern yet, we are under that same agreement that it would not be advantageous at this time to search for another system to provide this service.
Okay, thank you, Bert. Are there any questions from the board on this item?
Yes, this is Dale, and I've gotten a number of complaints from constituents about tax payments not being processed, and it's not real clear as to whether how much of this relates to the mail being slow and how much of this relates to processing. But my question is how long is it supposed to take once a tax payment is received in the mail until it's processed and cleared through the bank?
Once a payment is received, the payment is processed within 24 to 48 hours during normal non-collection periods. During collection, that can extend up to 72 hours, as we do. The mail that is received in-house here at the county is forwarded to our lockbox processor, which is KeyBank, so that does add an extra day. But typically, all payments are processed within 24 to 48 hours of their receipt. And then they would then, in turn, clear within 24 to 72 hours, depending on how long their bank takes to show it on their account.
Okay, so it could be close to a week.
It could be during collection periods, just because like I said, the volume coming in, those are forwarded, so there's an extra day delay. So we typically advise taxpayers when they call in from the time payment is received to allow 5 business days for it to show in their account. Typically, though, they would post within 3 days.
And how soon after a payment is received do we have capability to determine whether it in fact has been received, regardless of whether it's been processed?
There would, I don't know if I'm understanding the question.
My question is, I get calls from taxpayers, and they're saying that their check has not been cleared, that they paid their taxes and it's not been cleared, and so then they say, well, can you at least tell me if it's been received, even if it's not been processed? So my question is do we have capability to, is there some kind of, as soon as it's received, that it's recorded somewhere that it's been received? Do we have capability to determine that, or do we not know until it's been processed?
Thank you for the clarification. At this time, unless a taxpayer sends in a payment through some form of mail service that tracks their payment, there is currently no way to advise them whether or not the payment was received in the county. Just based on volume, we receive significant amounts of regular mail on a daily basis, and we have 2 staff members, so the mail is processed as it's received, and like I said, during non-collection, typically that mail is processed the same day it's received. We usually advise people when they call in that the payment should clear their bank within 24 hours of it posting with us, because the deposits are sent the same day to our bank that we process it. But we do not have any formal way to track regular mail that comes in unless it's sent certified or through a service that provides tracking.
And supposing that the bank is slow, do you have capability to determine that the county has processed the payment prior to when it's cleared by the bank, or is the only way that you can verify that a payment's been processed is when it clears the bank?
No, it would be in the MVP system. As soon as the payment is processed here, it is posted to the system in real time. So, for example, payments that are posted today, once the report is processed through MVP, it would immediately show that it was posted. I am not 100% sure if that is immediately available in real time on the website. I do believe that it is. If not, it would show that within 24 hours of processing in the MVP system. But it is immediately available in our system. If they were to call in, it would show that the payment was posted before the check cleared.
Okay, thanks for the information.
You're very welcome.
Are there any further questions in this item?
Yes, Nan Baker, I have a question.
Yes.
So it looks like the contract or the amendment was delayed because of legal wanting more insurance. And
That's correct.
I guess my question is, why after 6 amendments, it's not like this is a new request, why after all this time would we be asking, did legal want more insurance, which was difficult for the supplier to be able to meet? What was the reason after all this time insurance needed to be increased?
My understanding is that there was not someone in the risk position. I don't know how long that occurred. I don't know specifically why it was not previously addressed, but the information I was given by the legal team was that there was not someone in that position that's currently holding it to review and update that information. So when it was given to us, that was explained why the increase occurred and did not occur last year. So I would have to defer that to the legal department to find out why it had not previously been addressed.
I would be curious. I certainly won't hold this up, but perhaps you can let us know, because it did slow the whole process down. This is the 6th amendment, so it's not like it was something new.
That conversation was had with them, so we did emphasize that information, and we also did have a lot of conversation back and forth with legal, because the majority of the problem with them being able to get the new insurance was the limit that was imposed for the new insurance. The company itself felt that it was excessive and possibly not necessary, so they were still trying to get it, but because of the size of the company and the insurance companies that they were looking to get the insurance through, the insurance companies weren't comfortable writing the amount of policy for a company their size. They felt that it might not be a good risk, and that's what took the significant time, was finding an insurance company willing to authorize and write paper for the amount that was requested by legal.
Okay. Again, if we could, after the fact, get a brief explanation why legal felt after all this time and I hear you when you didn't have someone in place all this time until now. What was the reason for the increased insurance causing the supplier to, be compromised by looking for insurance that slowed the whole process down?
Yeah, I will definitely check with them. I can tell you one small part of it was they did increase the insurance with a new type of insurance for cyber. It was cyber security risk, which had, I believe that was what it was called, but that was an additional insurance that I believe was not previously in there. It was either a cyber risk or cyber criminal, something to do with theft, cyber theft that had not previously been acquired. So I know that was part of it, but a lot of it had to do with the increased dollar amounts that were being requested as well.
Okay. Well, I would appreciate that, and like I said, I'm not going to hold this up. But it would be good to know, just given that it was the snowball that really stopped the entire process, it would be good to know why they required more.
Okay. I will definitely see if I can get a statement from the legal representative that I was working with.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Bert, if you don't mind, when you do get that statement, forward it to myself and Sharon, and we'll make sure we get it out to all the board members.
I will do that.
Any further questions on this item?
Mr. Chair, this is Trevor. I just have one follow-up from Councilwoman Baker's question.
Yes, please.
Bert, did our cost, the county's cost, increase because of our demand for additional insurance?
It did, and I apologize. I was actually going to mention that. The original pricing was just over $11,000. I believe the insurance, I have the invoice here. It was crime insurance is what the insurance was. It did increase the cost to the county by $2,700 this year. It would be an annual fee, and that is completely paid by the county since it's a county requirement and not a company or vendor requirement.
Okay, so if you could, with law, based off Councilwoman Baker's questions, I would like some additional background as to why we require this, in turn making our costs go up.
Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I appreciate the information.
Okay, hearing no further questions, then I'm going to make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Chair, this is Trevor.
Seconded by Mr. Mackler. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-46, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, recommending a sole source award on a purchase order to Reveal Media Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $5,850 for the purchase of 6 new body cameras with front-facing screens and related software for the detention center.
Hi, this is Priscilla Bottomley from the Juvenile Detention Center. The 6 body cameras will be used to capture incidents and interactions within the detention center. Jay Leeworthy is on the call to answer any further questions.
Okay, are there questions from the board on this item?
Mr. Chair, this is Trevor. I just have one follow-up question from the advanced questions. I just want to make sure I'm reading this correctly. These 6 body cameras are the first and only 6 that are inside the detention center. Is that correct?
That is correct. It's the 6 cameras and it's the implementation of the system itself, which is inclusive of a all-in-one Dell computer software with the software for the Rebel Media as well, which is takes care of your redaction technologies, a lot of the ins and outs intricacies of the cameras themselves. So yes, to answer your question, it is the introduction of these cameras into the facility.
Do you anticipate requests for coming back for additional cameras?
At this time, no. Where this would lead is the support and the maintenance as well, and specifically the licensure is for the lifetime of the camera. So as long as these cameras are good, we will have them. And we need at the minimum of 6 is what we're going with. because we're going to have at least one operating on each shift, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we have 3 shifts, so they'll be rotating throughout for anybody responding to those emergencies. So they should hold us out for a decent period of time.
Thank you.
Any additional questions in this item?
Just one question to follow up.
Mm-hmm.
Nan Baker?
Sure.
What the camera is taking, is that on the entire time of the shift? And if yes, are those tapes kept and secured, or are they reused and, doubled over? How are we managing what is being taped?
So what comes with this software with them is it is, I don't want to give you the wrong calculation. It is 4 terabytes of storage, and that's on site, so there's no separate tier data center outside, so it'll be kept in-house. They will be during the time of incident, so it's not a continuously rolling period. So at the time of the incident occurring, they will come on because they're also voice activated, and there's a light on the front that will also advise that they are on. So if it's on an instance where it should not be on, it wouldn't be keeping that extra data storage.
Okay. So they come on as directly needed?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you for the answer.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, any final questions in this item? Hearing none, then I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second Nan Baker.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All those in favor say aye.
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 Item approved. Next item, please.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2021-47, Sheriff's Department, recommending an award on a purchase order to OD Security North America in the amount not to exceed $118,750 for the purchase of 1 replacement full-body security scanner X-ray machine for use at the Correction Center.
Good morning. This is Philip Lilly from the Sheriff's Department. The request is to purchase a dual-view full-body scanning system for use in the Sally Port of the Correction Center. The request was competitively bid out as a formal request for bid. The system will be utilized by intake to screen incoming inmates for contraband.
Thank you, Philip. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Hearing none, then I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second, Mr. Chair.
Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Thank you.
Moving on to exemptions, item BC 2021-48, Department of Public Works submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 4712, which will result in an award recommendation to the safety company doing business as MTech Company in the amount not to exceed $1,227,494.98 for a state contract purchase of 2 2020 replacement GapVax combination jet vacuum machines and 1 replacement Q's sewer inspection system truck for the Sanitary Engineering Division.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Public Works again. This item, we're requesting an award recommendation to safety company, MTech, the not to exceed dollar amount. This purchase is being made off of a state of Ohio contract, which was competitively bid. It was an open solicitation. It's for the purchase of 2 sewer jet trucks and 1 sewer camera inspection truck. These are replacements. They're replacing a 2010 and a 2012 jet truck and a 2007 camera truck. Those will be sent off to GovDeals. The average lifespan of these is, 5 to 8 years, and, we're working these 2 shifts. So these are needed desperately. It is a not to exceed dollar amount. It's for the purchase of 3 of these vehicles off of a state contract.
Thank you, Tom. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second, Dave Marquardt.
Seconded by Mr. Marquardt. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2021-49, Sheriff's Department, requesting authority to amend Board Approval Number BC 2020-525, dated September 14th, 2020, which amended Board Approval Number BC 2020-323, dated June 8th, 2020, which authorized an alternative procurement process resulting in various purchase orders and award recommendations to various providers for emergency off-site medical services for inmates for the period January 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2021, to add providers Ascend Clinical LLC and Emergency Professional Services, effective February 1st, 2021. No additional funds required.
Good morning, Tanisha Gates with the Sheriff's Department. We're requesting approval to amend BC 2020-323 and 525 to add 2 additional vendors, Ascend Clinical and Emergency Professional Services, to the list of approved providers for outside inmate medical services through December 31st, 2021, and no additional funds are needed at this time.
Okay, thank you, Tanisha. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Lisa Rocco. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, at the request of County Council, the following item, BC 2021-50, is being amended to read as follows. County Prosecutor's Office recommending an alternative procurement process, which will result in award recommendations to various expert witnesses to be determined and deemed necessary by the County Prosecutor, in the total amount not to exceed $400,000 for expert witness testimony in various cases to assist in the defense of civil actions brought by past and present detainees and inmates of the Cuyahoga County Correction Center for the period February 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022.
Yes, good morning. This is Brendan Healy from the County Prosecutor's Office. Thank you for having me today. And yes, this is a request for $400,000 through the alternative procurement process so that we can engage multiple experts to assist in the defense of these litigation matters. The funds will be used between February 1st, today, and June 30th, 2021. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you, Brendan. Are there any questions from the board on this item?
This is Nan Baker.
Yes, please.
I just want to state that I did ask, along with my colleagues on Board of Control, to consider reducing the amount from $500,000 to $400,000, having the amount be in place because it's what we are able to support. I thought it was better to have an amount that I thought we can agree upon that was going to be used for what the purposes are, and that is for the expert witness testimonies. So $400,000 was reduced. We will be getting back for the record a report on how these funds are expended. It will be given to the Clerk of Board of Control once the expert witnesses are done and provided for. So there is accountability and transparency in this piece. It's absolutely necessary. I do understand why the funds are needed, but I felt, along with others, that $400,000 was a better number. It will provide us with the transparency and accountability of how these funds will be spent after they are used. And if more is needed, they will come back and give us reasons why. So thank you for the minute to explain where I am on this item.
Absolutely. Any further questions on this item? Or hearing none, then I will make a motion to approve this item. Do I have a second?
I'll second. Nan Baker.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Moving on to other business.
We're moving on to the consent agenda, item BC 2021-51.
Thank you for the correction there. Moving on to the consent agenda. If you don't mind taking a moment, board members on this, feel free to speak if there's any questions on any of the items? Are there any questions from the board on these items? Hearing none, then, I will make a motion to approve today's consent agenda item 2020-51. Do I have a second?
Second, this is Dale.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's approved. Now moving on to other business.
We have an additional item, item BC 2021-52, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on a purchase order to Weekly's Mailing Services Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $35,119.88 for pre-sorted standard postage for a mailing to seniors 65 years of age and older regarding access to COVID-19 vaccinations, and the funding source is general fund.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Public Works. This item we're requesting an award to Weekly's Mailing Services Public Works in conjunction on behalf of Public Safety Justice Services with the support of the county executive for this item. It's result in a purchase order in the amount of $35,119.88. This is for pre-sorted postage mailing letters related to the COVID-19 pandemic, specifically senior-related COVID-19 letters. The county's print shop fiscal office, we've worked with this vendor in the past on highly sensitive mailing materials. This vendor is most knowledgeable of the county's operations. Due to the pandemic, the immediate business needs, we're requesting this item be added to the agenda and approved.
Okay, thank you, Tom. I am going to make a motion to add this item to today's consent or other business. Do I have a second?
Second, this is Dale.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, the item has been added. Are there any questions from the board members on this item?
Yes, this is Dale. And today is February 1st, and I became eligible today, being over 70, to get vaccines. So I went on to the Cleveland Clinic's website because I'm part of their healthcare system under my health plan, and I went on my chart and tried to get an appointment, but they said that vaccine is currently suspended because we don't have any vaccine available. And so I went to Mark's and they said that they don't have any available appointments within 50 miles. And I went to Giant Eagle and they said they don't have any appointments available. And I went to Drug Mart, and I was able to register with Drug Mart, but it's only that we'll contact you when it's time that you can make an appointment. And I tried some others with essentially the same result. So my question is, what exactly are we telling people?
Councilman Miller, this is Alex Fellon from Department of Public Safety and Justice Services. I think what you just described is something that's going on nationwide and a prime example of why the 2-on-1 system that we put out last week and this mailer are so important. In certain states, you're starting to see very centralized rollouts like Dodger Stadium in LA, and in Ohio, it's dispersed. So part of what we're doing and part of what we're working with COMS and some of our other partners like the Western Reserve of Aging and the hospital system is consolidating that if you're looking, you can call 211 to get registered. But the other key piece to this is we want to provide information of where people can get it, but also the understanding that just because you're eligible right now, that the vaccine allocation that's being sent from the state and the feds is not adequate. So there is an understanding that as we talk to people, as Tracy Mason's team talks to people, as the 2-on-1 team talks to people, it's putting that information there. We've built the infrastructure, working with the Board of Health and our other partners, that when the vaccine comes out, it can be rolled out, but right now it's just not there, sir.
So this letter that we're sending to people 55 and older, what exactly are we going to tell them to do? Are we going to tell them to call 211, or is it going to provide? Is it going to say that that just because you're eligible doesn't mean vaccine is available? Or what exactly are we going to tell them, and what instructions are we giving?
Yes, sir. So I can definitely answer that. You know, it a little bit of everything that you just said. You know, it outlines that the supply is very limited. It outlines places you can go, like the county website, the Board of Health website, if they have internet access, as well as the 211 option that we laid in. It lays out as well, you know, some of the kind of an FAQ or a myths versus facts to try and dispel some of the rumors that are going around, you know, whether it's is it safe, you know, or, things to that effect, to try and, once you are available, to try and get people to get the vaccine and increase our vaccination rates in the county. So basically everything you said, it's in a summarized piece of, it may be limited, here are ways that you can find out, and here are some facts versus myths that you may be hearing.
Is there any information on the county's website or the Board of Health website other than the list of providers?
Can you clarify what information you're talking about? I apologize. I just want to make sure I answer your question right.
On the Board of Health website, they have a list of all the providers in Cuyahoga County.
Yes, sir.
But I didn't see any information on that might help someone determine who actually has vaccine available.
Okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down now. So on the website, there's a couple different things. There's who's eligible. There is an ability to sign, if you are, say you were 65 and you're not currently eligible, there's a list that you can sign up for to get notified when you become eligible. And then there's a map that GIS had thrown together with vaccination locations. So what we do is weekly, we get the distribution layout from the state of Ohio and the State Board of Health about where they will be. So we update that each week. If, you know, because of the appointments and because of the way each one is doing it, we don't have like a countdown to show that there's 17 appointments left at Walgreens on XYZ. That we do not have, but each week we have an accurate reflection of where vaccinations are coming into the county and where they can be accessed, as well as how you sign up at each location. And that's available both on the GIS map as well as the 211 platform that we launched last week.
And is this on the county's website or the Board of Health website?
It's on the county, sir. It's cuyahogacounty.us/vax, VAX. It also has a link for those listening. Shameless plug, if you're looking to volunteer, there's a volunteer registration sign up as well on that page where you can get put into the queue to volunteer.
And do we have an estimate based on the rate at which we're receiving vaccine that we would expect to at least complete the 1B portion?
Ooh, no, I would have to defer to Terry and the Board of Health on that one, sir.
Okay.
I've heard through the end of next month, but I would want to check with them before a definite, if that makes sense.
Okay. Thanks for the information.
No problem. Glad we could help.
Okay, any other comments or questions in this item?
Yes, Nan Baker?
Yes.
So, the whole reasoning behind creating the 211 number and why we have posted on the internet is because there was a level of confusion and complaints about not understanding how it works, and that people, weren't sure of how they were going to get the vaccine if we say that their age qualifies them. So I'm wondering if the postcard answers any of that. I mean, the postcard is only going to let them know that what they're already confused and what they're already have experienced, that they can't get the vaccine yet. I just wonder if maybe we should hold the card until we have more definitive answers so that we can direct them to the website or to the 211 number to get answers that aren't there right now. I don't know. I mean, do we feel that the postcard is going to just cause more confusion because they're going to try and think, well, now they must be ready? Or I don't know. I'm not sure that the postcard is really going to be a help. It's going to reinforce that there's confusion and their complaints are legitimate. And what are we telling them in response to that?
I'll attempt to answer some of that, Councilwoman Baker. I think they're great questions. Just a quick point of clarification. This will be a letter versus a postcard. Okay. That'll be in an envelope. But the second part is, when this conversation had, and I believe Councilman Gallagher was the one who posed it a couple weeks ago at Safety Committee, was the idea of those that are not plugged in, those that do not have internet access or may have some sort of divide, of us reaching out to them to explain to them, the 211's there. So 211, what we've done, and it was built out from the emergency management side, is each provider, we have a list of how they're able to sign up. So if the person was able to call 211, they would be able to say, okay, Marks is the closest one to you. This is how Marks is doing it. So it does centralize where they can go. But and part of that, I'll tell you, I was on the phone Friday with Dr. Kim from the Cleveland Clinic, and these things are changing weekly. So if we were, I would say if we were to wait, this would honestly never go out because there's not a default. I don't think there's ever going to be a we're done with the way it's rolling out, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, it makes sense. And I'm supportive of the letter. I just don't want to create more anxiety from those that think that if they call 211, they're going to get the answers that they need, when we know going in that the confusion will continue or the delay of getting what they need will continue. I guess signing up, the ability to sign up is worth something, as long as where they're directed to sign up accepts it. That as Dale Miller, and I've heard from many constituents myself, gave the same story that he just gave. And I'm just wondering if sending out a letter is going to be helpful. Is that going to be helpful to them when they get the letter and they read it and they say, okay, this is what I do? When they do what the letter tells them to do, is it going to be helpful, or is it going to just put them back into the confusion that they had to begin with? I guess that's really what I'm asking. Do you feel that this letter will be something that will be a help to those that are reading it?
I think the letter will be beneficial to those that are confused about where they can get information or clarify information. The letter's not going to clarify exactly when and where you get a vaccine. It's just not, because of, like we talked about, the supply and demand issues as well as the limited supply. But what I believe the letter's greatest intent and the greatest benefit that'll come out of it is those that are not connected to our normal networks, those that may not have internet access, that don't read up on the news, will have a way where they can see what's going on. They can see some myths versus facts to maybe break this down, and they can know that if nothing else, they can call 211 to start the process of how to get information as they go along trying to get the vaccination.
I hear you on that. I guess I would just suggest that this won't be the one and done letter. That as we create, as the website's updating, as the vaccines are becoming more accessible, that probably an update of this letter will have to be done also. That it's the beginning, not the end, of informing people on this level of mailing that we'll probably have to do again as this all evolves and allows people to understand what they're supposed to do. So it's a beginning. I'm afraid that we're probably going to hear perhaps some pushback as to the letter doesn't tell me enough, but the 211 line is valuable, and I do believe, as you said, that will be certainly recommended on the letter to call, and that in itself should be a help. But I don't think that this is the first and only letter. I think we will probably find follow-up letters as we evolve through this process.
I think that's a very valid point, Councilwoman.
Okay, any final questions on this item? Hearing none, then I'm going to make a motion.
Mr. Chair, this is Trevor. I just have a follow-up question on that.
Yeah, please.
Alex, who's the letter coming from?
It is coming from, let me pull it up right here, the executive.
Okay. And most of these sites, which I've done it for people to try to help them schedule relatives, friends, and stuff like that, that hit those groups, most of them require internet access to schedule these appointments.
Can you say
right.
that
And
require the internet?
Yeah, to schedule appointments.
Yeah. Some do. So a lot do. You know, that's one of the benefits, and I'm going to keep going back to this because we've used it as an all-in-one. But you know, where the places do not require sensitive information like Social Security numbers, 211 is able to register those if they can find the availability or to put them on a wait list to get called when there is availability. 211 serves as an asset that can sign those people up as well. And we've been working on an ongoing basis. And I won't bring them up specifically by name, but working with a retailer to where we might be able to pull some of that back where there didn't have to be such specific identifiable information that may help with people signing up. So we're working on that.
But I thought 211 was not scheduling appointments. It was referring people to all the various options.
No, sir. So if there is a registration available, so say I tell you my address and you know, you're 211 and you tell me the Mark's Pharmacy is a block from you, let me check to see if they have whether they have online registration or not. They do. Hey, we found an appointment. They'll sign that person up for the appointment via 211 as long as there's not that super secure information like Social Security numbers or any very, very specific health.
And then going back to the letter, why aren't we sending this letter from the Board of Health? I mean, they're responsible, right, for this information. The county is not. It's the County Board of Health. Why aren't we having it come from the Board of Health?
You know, I don't know the exact reason of why it's not coming from the Board of Health, Trevor, but I can say I do think it's as the county that oversees, whether it's Department of Senior Adult Services, you know, my shop and safety working in conjunction with the Board of Health. I don't think it's just one group's responsibility. I think the more we push this out and the more information we push out to groups, especially those that are, you know, distance, whether it be from technology or any other socioeconomic factor, I think the wider the net is on this for information, the better, frankly.
Well, it's better the more information, but I'm struggling with different groups providing perhaps different information or competing information at times. And I just don't know why we wouldn't funnel all the information through the Board of Health. I mean, the county is not responsible in terms of getting the vaccine out to individuals. That is coming directive from the state. I think this confuses people, getting letters from elected officials now about where to go get information on vaccines, and that's just something that the county's not responsible for. I'm worried about the confusion that this letter is going to create, and I know this was referenced in the committee, but as Councilman Miller pointed out, he tried 5, 6, 7 different locations today and could not get an appointment because of the lack of a vaccine. And these letters are going to go out probably in the next week or so, and I think it's going to cause more confusion. And I'm just not quite sure why we're not sending this out to the Board of Health.
I can tell you, Trevor, 2 points. One is that the supply and demand issue that Councilman Miller talked about, this is not going to solve, but the fact that Councilman Miller knew exactly where to go to look and exactly where he might be able to get it is the piece we're trying to solve. So one. The second part is we've worked hand in hand with the Board of Health from the beginning, whether it's messaging, whether it's logistics, whether it's helping set up sites for vaccines. So this is not done in a void of public health. It's done more in a partnership with public health. It's just coming out of the county government side.
Good. How are you? All right.
I mean, I just think it's going to cause additional confusion and frustration when seniors are calling 211 and there's no appointments available.
Okay, any further questions on this item's comments?
Yes, Nan Baker, if I may.
Yes, please.
You know, there's obstacles, obviously, because of the supply and demand, but it sounds like there's also obstacles that can be controlled. It seems odd that we ask for information that we can't do by phone because of security reasons of needing Social Security numbers and perhaps other private information, and yet we can find some other locations that require that. So, you know, why is it that we want this private information if someone can show where they live, what their name is, and we know that that residence, they are 65 or older? Why do we add that layer of a barrier? We have to hunt for places that don't require that. I'm not sure, you know, if this is the time to ask that question, but I would think that that would be something that we should take a strong look at. We either require their Social Security number or we don't. And if that's a barrier and it's not needed and we can find proof of their age, then why isn't that enough?
Councilwoman Baker, just to clarify, and I apologize if I misspoke, we as the county or 211 are not the ones that require the Social Security number. It's the specific vaccination signups, like if it was at the clinic or Mark's or Giant Eagle, on their online form, they ask for a Social Security number. So the county does not add that. That's on an individual retail vaccination clinic determination.
Right. And did you say that you found some retail locations that do not require it?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. I would think even though it's not the county asking for it, either whether it's the Board of Health that needs to, you know, be accountable for that or someone, because if it's an added barrier that stops our seniors from getting the vaccine, then we need to address that because that's controllable. That's within our scope. You know, I don't know. It just doesn't seem right to me, though. Some do, some don't. And it's just the luck of the draw if you can find one that doesn't require information like that. for what it's worth, you know, I can reach out to the Board of Health Director also and ask why that requirement is in place.
Yeah, and the Board of Health does not ask it as well. So just want to make sure. It's some of the private places that do. And that is you just described one of the downturns of having this spread out distribution model versus a centralized. Is now there are 86 different locations that are doing vaccinations, so you have the potential for different signups at each one. But you have it in different communities and spread out throughout the county so that it's not just in one place. So there's a plus and a minus to this model, and you just identified one of the minuses.
Well, I would think that if we are all working together toward the same goal, that we could all come together and come up with a common rule of allowing those who need a vaccine to get one. I would think that even though it's private and public sector partnership, still, as you said earlier, we're all working closely together. We're not working in a vacuum, and that if this is an issue, then let's address it. Let's get all these partners together and find out what we can do to be on the same page. And that's just something that has to be orchestrated outside of this letter with those that are working to get this vaccine out.
All good comments. Okay, last call for any further questions on this item?
Mr. Chair, just one more. This is Trevor. I just want to make sure I have a correct understanding. Alex, so you're saying that 211 will help schedule appointments? Because, I mean, this was discussed and presented through press releases that it's just a referral system. So we're changing that now. 211 will help schedule appointments when they can? Yes.
Yes. And if that information was put out incorrectly, 211 can both refer for information, whether it's a phone number or a website of where people can go. They can push them to the City of Cleveland's call line through their Board of Health, since they're two separate Board of Health. Or if there's the ability to sign up for a wait list, or they can find an actual vaccine appointment, and it doesn't require that Social Security number like we talked about, they will sign them up while they're on the phone.
Okay. I do think we should reconsider the signature on the letter. I think at the very least we should add the Board of Health to the information. I mean, I think having a unified message is important, and I would just ask that perhaps that be reconsidered to add the Board of Health on that.
Okay, I'll bring that up to Eliza, Trevor, when we get off this call.
And Chair, I would second that. If the letter's coming from the county, I think having the County Board of Health Director, in addition to the signature that's already on there, be placed. And I, too, have been telling people that 211 number was a referral and that appointments cannot be made. They can only direct you and give you information of how to do it. So I'm pleased to hear that we can, in fact, help people, even though it's limited to the private of the Social Security numbers and things, but at least there is something. And I do think we need to follow through and try to make that unified in the questions that are needed. We want to get people vaccinated and not create more barriers. I think this is doable. It's within our scope. We just need to bring these partners together and figure out why Social Security numbers are so important, that it actually stops someone from being able to be helped. That's all I'll say. Thank you, but I agree. I think the Board of Health Director's name should be included on the letter as support of what this letter is stating.
Okay, all great comments. I will then now, since I think Alex has a little homework to do, but for right now, then we're talking about approving the item number 2021-52. So I will make a motion to approve this item. Do I have a second?
I'll second, Trevor.
Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Next on our agenda would be public comment. If there's any public comment, feel free to speak now. Okay, there's no public comment. Moving on to adjourning. I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Rocco. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.